When we think of the richest people in the world, names like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates usually come to mind. But among this elite circle stands a woman who, despite having a fortune larger than most of them, remains surprisingly low-key and private. Her name is Françoise Bettencourt Meyers, and she is the richest woman in the world. She doesn't run a tech company, she's not a celebrity, and she rarely appears in the media. Yet she controls a vast beauty empire, L'Oréal, that touches the lives of millions across the globe. Her story is not just one of inherited wealth, but of quiet strength, deep intellect, and a profound sense of responsibility. In this video, we'll take a closer look at who Françoise Bettencourt Meyers is, how she came into her fortune, the values that define her, and what makes her stand apart in a world of high-profile billionaires. Part 1. Early life and family background. Françoise Bettencourt Meyers was born on July 10, 1953, in Neuilly-sur-Seine, one of the most affluent suburbs of Paris, France. She was born into privilege as the only child of Liliane Bettencourt, herself once the richest woman in the world, and the granddaughter of Eugène Schuller, the man who founded L'Oréal in 1909. Eugène was a visionary chemist whose early innovations in hair dye laid the foundation for a brand that would eventually dominate the global beauty industry. Growing up in a wealthy and deeply private family, Françoise was largely sheltered from the public eye. Her upbringing was conservative, intellectual, and disciplined. She was educated at home before attending the Catholic University of Paris, where she developed a strong passion for philosophy, literature, and theology. Unlike many heirs to massive fortunes, Françoise was never drawn to the glamour of business or the spotlight of society life. Instead, she became an author, publishing several works including texts on Greek mythology and interfaith relations between Christians and Jews. From early on, her life was marked more by introspection and learning than by luxury and attention. Part 2. The L'Oréal Empire and her inheritance. Though she stayed largely outside the corporate limelight, Françoise's life changed dramatically in 2017 with the death of her mother, Liliane Bettencourt. With Liliane's passing, Françoise inherited the family's controlling stake in L'Oréal, one of the largest and most powerful cosmetics companies in the world. At that time, her fortune was already vast, but the inheritance cemented her status as the richest woman on earth. L'Oréal owns an extensive portfolio of global beauty brands, including Maybelline, Lancôme, Garnier, and many more. The company's market dominance and consistent growth, especially in emerging markets and digital retail, have continuously increased its value, and by extension, Françoise's net worth. As of now, she owns roughly 33% of L'Oréal, making her the company's largest shareholder. This stake, along with investments through the family's holding company Tethys, has pushed her personal wealth beyond $90 billion. Despite her immense financial power, Françoise has never taken on an executive or operational role at L'Oréal. Instead, she serves on the company's board of directors, where she contributes to strategic decisions and long-term planning. Her influence is subtle but significant, ensuring that the family legacy remains intact while guiding the company toward a sustainable future. Part 3. Lifestyle, Values and Personality. What makes Françoise Bettencourt Meyers especially intriguing is her deeply private and understated lifestyle. In contrast to many modern billionaires who often live in the public eye, Françoise prefers silence over social media, modesty over flash. She rarely gives interviews, avoids public appearances unless necessary, and keeps her family life away from the spotlight. She is known to be intensely intellectual, deeply religious, and highly disciplined. A devout Catholic, Françoise has written extensively on biblical topics and is passionate about interfaith dialogue. Her religious beliefs shape many of her personal and philanthropic decisions. Despite having the resources to buy anything she could possibly want, she is known for living in relative simplicity, focusing instead on writing, reflection, and philanthropy. One of the most defining moments of her public generosity came in 2019, after the fire that severely damaged Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Françoise and her family pledged €200 million to the reconstruction of the iconic structure, an act that highlighted both her deep cultural values and her commitment to national heritage. Through her actions, she embodies a rare kind of billionaire ethos, one focused not on fame or expansion, but on stewardship and dignity. Part 4. Controversies and Family Conflict. Although Françoise Bettencourt Meyers lives a quiet life, she has not been entirely removed from controversy. In fact, one of the most public and dramatic episodes in her life unfolded in the late 2000s, in what became known in France as the Bettencourt affair. The case centered around her mother, Liliane, and a man named François-Marie Bonnier, an artist and close companion of Liliane, who was accused of manipulating her for financial gain. Françoise believed Bonnier was exploiting her mother's aging mind to gain access to gifts worth hundreds of millions of euros. The conflict turned into a legal and media firestorm, exposing deep divisions within the family, raising questions about inheritance and elder abuse, and even implicating high-ranking French politicians. Ultimately, the court sided with Françoise. Bonnier was convicted of financial exploitation, and Françoise was granted legal guardianship over her mother. While the ordeal was painful and highly public, it also demonstrated Françoise's resolve to protect her family's honor and fortune, even when it meant airing private matters in court. It was one of the few times she stepped into the spotlight, and she did so with the quiet composure that has come to define her. Part 5. Her role today and the future of the dynasty today. Françoise Bettencourt Meyers remains a powerful yet largely invisible figure in the business world. While she does not lead L'Oréal operationally, she oversees the family's long-term financial and strategic interests. Through the holding company Tethys, she manages investments not only in L'Oréal, but in sectors like healthcare, education, and sustainability. Her two sons are believed to be increasingly involved in the family's business affairs, suggesting that the Bettencourt legacy will continue for generations to come. What sets her apart from other billionaires is her philosophy of quiet leadership. She does not build rockets or post on Twitter. Instead, she strengthens her influence through legacy, intellect, and a long-term vision rooted in culture, continuity, and responsibility. Under her watch, L'Oréal has embraced digital transformation, committed to environmental goals, and expanded its global reach, ensuring that the brand remains as relevant today as it was a century ago. Final part. A legacy of quiet power. Françoise Bettencourt Meyers stands as a rare figure in today's world of celebrity billionaires and media magnates. She is a woman who inherited extraordinary wealth, but did not let it define her. Instead of using her fortune for fame or personal indulgence, she chose a path of reflection, education, and responsibility. Her legacy is not just about money or business, it's about preserving heritage, investing in knowledge, and carrying forward a century-old vision with grace and discipline. She represents a kind of wealth that speaks in actions, not headlines. She helped rebuild Notre Dame Cathedral, not for praise, but because she understood the cultural weight of that moment. She continues to guide one of the world's most powerful companies, not from the front page, but from behind the scenes, ensuring that L'Oréal evolves with time, while honoring its origins. In a world driven by noise, Françoise is proof that real power doesn't have to be loud. It can be thoughtful, it can be principled, and it can change the world, one quiet, decisive step at a time. Françoise Bettencourt Meyers may not be a household name like Elon Musk or Oprah Winfrey, but her influence is undeniable. She represents a different kind of billionaire, one driven not by attention, but by heritage, discipline, and intellect. Inheriting one of the greatest fortunes in modern history, she has handled it with remarkable grace, resisting the temptations of excess and focusing instead on faith, family, and thoughtful growth. She's a writer, a thinker, a mother, and the silent guardian of a beauty empire that touches nearly every corner of the globe. In a world where wealth often shouts, Françoise Bettencourt Meyers is a powerful whisper, quiet, enduring, and deeply respected.